Hey everybody, sorry it's been so long since I posted a video. This one is for Cy 10 Brugenkate. Hi Cy, I saw your YouTube video challenging me, throwing down the gauntlet, challenging me to a debate. And as has happened every other time you have challenged me to a debate, I will accept. And then I guess we'll see what happens. What are you thinking, Cy? You're not on my level. Is that what you were looking for? Did you want to taunt me on YouTube to get a clip that you could perhaps use out of context in order to make me seem to be saying something I wasn't? Much in the same way you taunted on Facebook until I pretty much revoked your invitation to come on the show for really good reasons. Why don't you post that clip with context of what I said before and after, and then talk about what was going on Facebook at the time, where you were basically accusing us of, not being capable of treating you fairly. And if that's the way you're going to be and all the other crap that was going on, of course, I'd rather you didn't call the show, but you're still welcome to call the show. My personal preference doesn't stop you from being able to call into the show. In this case, though, you wouldn't have an out of context quote. You're not at my level. And it's clear to most people that you seem to be trying to pull yourself up by our bootstraps. And you have been unprofessional about this. Why on earth would you throw out a debate challenge on YouTube instead of in email, where we've done this previously, where it's been professional? You see, I'm not the one who has a history of saying, yes, I'll debate you, and then vanishing. In April 2009, Cy contacted the show and said he'd like to be on as a guest, and Jen explained our guest policy to him, but told him that he's more than welcome to call on the show. We'd love to have him call on the show, and if he told us what day he was calling in, we would set aside a line for him, which is more than we do for regular callers. But this wasn't good enough for Cy. My impression is that this did not please his ego, and that he wanted to appear as a special guest, some unheard of out of the blue, definitely at the time, probably still a little bit now, wanted to be on as a special guest and didn't want to be like all the other callers. And he had a back and forth with Jen where she pointed out how it seemed dishonest to say that his primary purpose was not to promote theism when he's there representing a website called Proof That God Exists. Maybe he should look up theism. But anyway, this back and forth with Jen went on, and then on every occasion when she replied to him, she once again reiterated that she would love to have him call into the show, and that he was welcome to call into the show, and that we would set aside a line for him to call into the show. And he replied by telling Jen that clearly she wasn't integral to the show, that she should forward the emails to me. I'd already seen all of them. They were being copied to our entire list. Jen was responding on behalf of all of us. But she should forward them to me because maybe I wouldn't play word games that would disqualify him from appearing on the show. Now, how delusional or dishonest do you have to be to have somebody say, we'd love to have you on the show, we welcome you on the show, please call into the show, I've seen your website, please call into the show, we'll set aside a line for you to call into the show, and then claim that they're playing word games to disqualify you from appearing on the show? How many ways can you say, yes, call us, and have the person still go, well, you're playing word games to disqualify me from appearing on the show? And I replied to him and pointed out that Ray Comfort had been on the show, and Matt Slick had been on the show, and others had called in, and they all called in, and none of them were this special guest category that Cy seemed to want. He didn't reply to that email, and years went by. And in July 2012, sometime around then, there was some Facebook taunting, and he and Eric were having their fun. And people were saying, hey, why didn't you call into the show? And one of the comments that I recall him making, although I haven't looked it up, so this is paraphrasing, is that he didn't call into the show because he didn't have any good reason to think that he would be treated fairly. And in an email response to him, I pointed out that this isn't actually true, and that he should perhaps talk to Ray Comfort, who had nothing but nice things to say about the way he was treated on the show. And Matt Slick called in more than once. Each of these guys got more than 45 minutes. We had good discussions. I enjoyed it. Yet, that didn't seem to be a good enough reason, and people weren't buying it once we talked about that. So he emailed me in July of 2012 and said, okay, you want to do this debate? Let's do a debate. Okay, fine. And I replied with, let's set a topic, let's pick a format, let's figure out how we're going to do this, and blah, 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 blah. And what I got back the very same day was, I'm busy. I'll try and contact you in a week. Insert the noise of crickets right here. Spanning a period of 6 months until January 2013, when Cy emailed me on a separate issue. He was basically giving us some information about a caller to our show. And I appreciate that, which is one of the only reasons I'm bothering to respond to this now. But in that email, he said also that he's still willing and interested in doing the debate. Okay, that's January 2013. I said, great. Didn't hear anything else at all. Until yesterday. Over a year later since the last one. Now, because I mentioned on the show that Sarah Moorhead had tried to set up a 2 versus 1 debate, me versus Eric and Kent, or Eric and Cy, sorry, at Apostacon, and they had declined. All of a sudden, boy, this is why I think it's mostly ego and self-promotion for Cy. All of a sudden, he's ready. Let's do this. Put up or shut up. Come on, I'll debate you. You didn't have to go through all that. And by the way, when I said they declined, I didn't say that they refused to ever debate, although that seems to be the trend. I just said they declined. And in this case, it wasn't Cy who actually declined. It was what I understand to be their representative. I wasn't trying to set any of this up. Sarah was. So you're not at my level, Cy. But I will stoop down to yours and engage in little YouTube banter, maybe some Facebook taunting. And I will once again accept your challenge to debate, and we'll see what happens. However, because of your track record, you've contacted me, I've replied, you vanish. You contact me, I reply, you vanish. You contact me, I reply, you vanish. I'm done talking to you. Sarah Moorhead has been authorized to set up this debate. You can work with Sarah to set it up. You can have your representative work with Sarah to set it up. I've got 5 debates over the next 2 weeks. I've got plenty of other things to do that don't involve pandering to somebody who has a track record of seeming to just want to leech a little publicity off of a bigger fish. If you want to actually do the debate, great. I'm all in. If you don't, man, just stop, because it's starting to look really bad.